We're following multiple breaking stories this morning. Another violent night erupting across the metro. Right now, an investigation is underway after an off-duty Atlanta police officer fires at a suspect. Christy Diaz joining us live from outside APD headquarters with the latest on what led up to the shooting. Christy.
It started as a fight at a gas station before spilling out into the street. We have video of the scene. Let's show that to you now. It was at this Exxon gas station on Edgewood Avenue around 11:30 last night when a fight started as an argument, but then it escalated into physical blows. It moved out into the street and around the corner where an APD officer was working an overtime detail, and he was watching as one of those suspects started firing. So that officer started shooting back. From the scene, we could tell at least 9 shots overall were fired, but amazingly, no one was shot. Now, everybody left the scene before more officers could arrive, so they are looking at surveillance video and talking to witnesses to find out more. Sheba.
And Christy, no one arrested?
No, they don't even have any suspects at this point, just what they've been able to see on cameras. They do know one person jumped into a dark-colored car and took off down Auburn Avenue, but that's about all they have to go on right now. So they're looking to the public for more information. Sheba.
All right, Christy.